I need to get rid of the stagger. Like, what will you do? And you're looking at it, it's like, it's shiny. But I don't know. It might be like curse. I don't know. Why
Maybe
are you trying
to
get...
killed some king with it and you're just trying to pawn it off?
Well, I like the concept because I don't usually see it very often, is the idea of doing trading as a central mechanic, like feature of RPGs. Although, I realize that any kind of system that has any kind of a currency or a wealth system or something could just focus on that aspect.
Sure, and you can build a game around, like, your character could be like, yeah, I want to just, like, where you're like, are there any shops I could buy the other day? I was like, no.
Oh, yeah. Well, because... So here's the thing. I had an idea for something I thought would be a really cool fucking campaign for D&D. Alright?
Traders?
Huh?
What, silk traders?
Well, a little bit like that. No. Tell me what you think about this. Or I guess the Patreon folks can tell me what you think about it. But a campaign, your party starts having bought this rundown, abandoned tavern.
Oh, we're playing House Flipper.
We're like playing Tavern Flipper, but no. See, here's what I'm thinking. So, in order to fix this thing up, you need money. And you need resources. Mm-hmm. So you go and you're like, okay, how can we make money? Figure out how you can make money, do some chores. And as you fix it up and fix up the bar and fix up like the games room and the billiard room, as you fix that up and raise the tavern's level and notoriety, characters come into your purview that are like the NPCs that have like major quest lines that are about the world itself as you fix up the tavern. And so then you meet more important folks that are more influential in the major like religions and guilds and groups in the game that start to come into your periphery.
So are we thinking like Moonlighter?
Kind of like Moonlighter if the quests were directly tied to actually building up.
That could be definitely an interesting concept for it. And it would actually be... I think you've been playing too much No Man's Sky, where you're playing with your settlement, huh?
Oh, yeah.
No, that could be kind of neat. Be like, yeah, we all went in together on this one joint venture, and it's like, you could do that as your hub, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you would... go do quests or missions or clear out goblin dens or whatever have points of interest.
Yeah.
And then you could, potentially, maybe you get a quest from a guy who's like, listen, I know a few guys who could really spruce up your kitchen for you, but I need something done for me. Yeah. So it's like you could undergo a quest to get a kitchen upgrade to do something like that. It could be interesting.
Yeah.
I think you would need to have, designed a mechanic specifically around that.
Yeah. I think what you have to do is there'd be like quest triggers at certain like levels. Well,
no. I mean for like your tavern upgrades and stuff, you would need a tavern mechanic.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, your tavern gets a rating.
Yeah.
Based on each of these things in there. I think that'd be cool if we design that at some point just for fun.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's the thing, if you want to own a tavern and like do a gameplay based around this concept you just came up with, tell us in the Patreon later if you think this is a cool idea, and maybe we could all get together and like workshop it. I don't know.
I think it would be a very interesting like campaign module, because I don't see a lot of like that aspect. But I kept thinking to myself, like, it would be really neat if you consider that, like, so much of the trope is that you meet somebody in a tavern and they give you a quest. What if you were the owners of the tavern? And so now when people come in, you actually see it, maybe even secondhand, and that actually leads you to the quest. Like, can you imagine, like, one of your characters is tending bar while you're not on a quest, and you see in the corner a shadowy figure, like happens to be a character like Strider, right? And meets with a bunch of halflings, and over in the corner, and then you hear something outside, and you see this happen, and it pulls you into a larger storyline that you can choose to engage with because everything's happening in the hub area you've built to create that hub area. So
it could definitely be interesting. I don't think a module itself would necessarily need that. Like, that would be interesting, but it'd be a lot more work to make a whole ass campaign out of it yourself. But I think if you want to do even just a standalone, tavern mechanic or tavern thing, but do the tavern and like the being able to do it as quest rewards and just build out different ways you could have your tavern expanded and ways that you can modify it in that just as a standalone that you can insert into another campaign might be cool.
Sure.
Because then you're not bogging this design down with having to also flesh out NPCs and quests and that type of stuff. But I think it could be cool. It's definitely got some fun little stuff you could do. Like maybe you've got maybe in the basement of the tavern is an alchemy lab.
Yeah, or, all of those gigantic rats. And you have to clear out the rats as your first quest.
So like, maybe it's like,
and you find
go, hey, we want an alchemy lab in the basement. And the bonus to an alchemy lab is both that you can sell potions of healing, for instance, or potions, but also that, like, all your beverages that you sell get a bonus.
Oh, yeah.
Like, maybe they're worth more?
Or if you serve any of the patrons and you're meeting them, and maybe you get a bonus to persuasion.
Maybe you just fucking mind control them.
So, the potions actually make them more, susceptible to persuasion or something like that.
But I just mean, like, maybe you could charge more because they're fancier drinks.
Oh, sure.
Any kind of stuff like that. It could be fun.
Yeah.
To do something like that.
That
reminds me of, that reminds me of another 40k RPG I played, Death Watch. I was going to run a Death Watch campaign, but I wanted it to be mission-based. And so I had, like, the idea that, okay, so what I'll do for this is because instead of, like, a campaign where it's you go here, 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 it's like, well, if you're Death Watch, you can drop in with drop pods, go to different locations where you're needed. It wouldn't have to be based all in one place. You could go from planet to planet or spots on the planet and whatever. So I was like, all right, what if it's mission-based and each mission is a standalone thing? Like, here's your, like, so I was like, all right, here's, like, a primary objective and then secondary objectives for your mission. And the idea was I would take a map from, like, Google Earth, maybe a city or something, depending on the environment. And I'd be like, all right, here's points you need to get to. Like, here's the insertion point. Here's things you need to get to. And I'd map out, like, where certain groups of enemies might be, for instance, for me. But the idea was that I was going to do a mission briefing write-up. And then primary, secondary objectives, and do it like, I think at that point it was like a Facebook group I made with my friends for it. So it's like, here's your mission briefing. And then before the game even begins, you guys have the time to, like, prep. It's like, you can outfit your characters how you think they need to be, because it's like you have requisition, you can get whatever you need to before this.
Sure.
Like, prep your characters, make a game plan, and then we come to game and you just fucking go.
Yeah.
I think that'd be neat, although it's a lot of more prep work on the player's hands too then. But I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
For a thing, and I still think it's a neat concept to do, like, a mission-based game in that sense, especially for 40k it would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that campaign didn't really happen.
Didn't work. Okay.
It was like, I think we made characters.
We got that far. Well, that's
we got characters down. We made some Space Marines.
The other possibility too, like, taken off of that, is if people were like, I don't want to do a tavern, is if you actually ran a pawn shop. And so
sold all the stuff you got.
But that is good. No, but here's the central thing I was thinking about. People come into the shop and have these, like, weird, rare, or mystical items that, like, you don't understand. They're like mysterious items, and they're trying to sell them because they want to get them out of their hair. And if you buy them and you, like, investigate them, like these old books or these, like, mystical daggers or something, it actually becomes leading off to a quest of like, where did this dagger go? It ends up cursing you, or there's words in the book that are actually like a treasure map or something.
That could actually be fun as well.
Yeah.
I like both of those ideas actually. Yeah. Far more than other ideas you've ever.
It's like some of the best ideas I've had.
No, actually, that one's fun. It'd be like, so Pawn Stars. Essentially, it's like, what is this? And you could be like, honestly, you could be like, oh, these are rare, or you could be like, nah, they're not worth that much. If you want to be the shadier side of business, but
yeah,
maybe it could be like, maybe you run a business where it's like, all right, so what we'll do is we'll appraise it. And then if we find it's a thing, we'll go investigate it. But, like, we get the item, but we'll give you money for it.
Yeah.
Like, but we're going to go investigate this thing because it's got, like, a history to it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to find this out and do an adventure. So maybe they pay you to figure it out. And then, like, you get dibs on the item if they want to part with it.
Sure.
But then it leads you on a quest line, like, or a storyline of the item's history. And like that type of stuff. So that could be neat.
I'm thinking.
I know you didn't play a lot of World of Warcraft after Lich King.
But really, no.
In Legion you got the artifact weapons, and one of the things you could do with that is unlock the like story behind them, because they're all like in-game legendary items.
Yeah. Essentially
like the fabled things from different characters. Like
you
get shamans get the Doom Hammer, which is Thrall's iconic hammer that he was given to him by Ogrim in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
You get the Doom Hammer as an artifact weapon, and you can unlock the lore behind it through doing stuff. So that type of stuff is neat. Sadly, they took that mechanic away.
Of course,
as they do with every game. They're like, here's something neat, let us change it. And it's like,
why did you do that? But at any rate, my thought process behind the pawn shop, though, like, my story starter was the idea, okay, you just open this pawn shop up and you're getting the word out, and then this guy frantically comes in and he's got this dagger in his hands and he's like, look, what do you want for it? I need to get rid of this dagger. Like, what will you do? And you're looking at it, it's like, it's shiny, but I don't know, it might be like curse, I don't know, why are you trying to
just killed some king with it and you're just trying to pawn it, huh?
Yeah, it's like, listen, if you don't ask any questions, I'll give it to you for like 5 gold. 5 gold, you can have it. And so then you have to decide, do I want to risk it? And it turns out maybe the dagger is cursed, and it bestows a curse upon you, and now you're hunting down the guy that sold it to you and trying to figure out how he got a hold of it and where it came from and how to remove the curse. And maybe if you remove the curse, the dagger is worth a lot more than 5 gold anyway. And you made a profit on it. But in the meantime, you have a whole quest line you have to go on. And there's like a reason for it now, which is like, motivation is always a good thing, about why I'm going. I have a motivation. I am cursed right now, and I don't want to be cursed anymore.
So what we'll actually have to do at some point, Nathan, either when you come over again, with an idea like that, we could probably actually write a campaign together.
Sure.
Because I think it's something that you came up with it, and it's not
I think it's
insane.
Fun. Yeah, no.
Like, some of your stuff is really ridiculous, and it's just like, that's a bit much. The other stuff is like, for me, is like, all right, well, I don't usually go super serious, but I also don't go super ridiculous, I don't think.
Yeah.
I know, I think that could actually be fun to make something like that.
I thought it was just such a fun idea, because how many times have you played like games and thought, I'd kind of like to own one of these buildings? With all the money I get as adventurers, I kept thinking, I kind of like to have a building and like build it out.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be fun?
So what we do is we get together and we make this thing and we turn it into a module. And then we get our patrons get to play it first.
Our patrons get to play it first. Yep. There you go. You heard it here first, patrons.
It's the Tavern Pebble Knockdown.
It's Tavern.
It's the TPK Inn.
It's the TPK Inn. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, we'll work on that.
Tavern, produce, knickknacks.
Knickknack, yeah. Tavern produces knickknacks.
Yes.